What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at the new best meta icon strikers you can get in FIFA 23. So with the addition of Team of the Year icons, we've got a few different ones and I just wanted to relay which ones are the best to you with the new added addition. Obviously we still are waiting for reality. Whether that happens, we will see. But the first man on the list is going to be Didier Drogba. And honestly, most versions of him are pretty meta in terms of what you can actually do with him. He's not necessarily the most meta in terms of pace and just absolute dribbling, but in terms of what you can actually get from this striker is incredible. If we had the lengthy meta, which we got a glimpse of at the start of the game with his base, he was an absolute just wrecking machine. He's a 4-star, 5-star with his World Cup version, definitely his better version out of the 4 now. Obviously 6'2" with a high, has got flair and power header, but in terms of the stats, you're looking at a very complete striker in terms of actually scoring goals. He's got a good amount of pace, which added with an engine or something along them lines, just to get that balance up, this is where he really kind of stands tall. He is already a very tall striker in general, great power header with that head and accuracy, strength is incredible, aggression definitely could be a little bit more, but we kind of move with that. The jumping's good. It's got great composure on him. The only thing that really could step this card up to the next level is adding a bit more agility balance, which, yes, would completely make this card just absolutely nuts. And that is what the kind of hope is. If we manage to get a team of the season Drogba, or if they do a footies icon sort of thing, that would be absolutely incredible to see Drogba in that sort of light. But in terms of an absolute wrecking machine, he's going to be very good up front. He's got the strength on him. He's got the pace on him, which is always fantastic. Dribbling is one of them things that you kind of just have to get used to. He's very much a hold-off striker, or getting on the through ball and holding off defenders whilst running. And when you get that shot off, he's going to be pretty fantastic with it. Are you tired of using players like this? I would much rather have teams more like this. Then I recommend going over to skycoach.gg for all of your coaching and coins needs. They are cheap, fast and reliable, but at the checkout make sure you are using code JT11 for a discount on your orders. Back to the video. From one World Cup player though to another, Butra is one of them players that I think is very much a pick up and play. He's a quick striker. He's coming in at 5'6", so most definitely a little bit shorter than Drogba, and with these icons, they're meta for a different reason. They obviously are one of the best in terms of strikers. We've not got some of the lower rated strikers in here because realistically they are kind of done now. The amount of teams I see with Prime, Team of the Year icons all throughout their team. The base Butragueno, even though he's cheaper and probably as efficient as such, he's going to be good for his rating, but against the best of the best will unfortunately come up short. Whereas when you've got the World Cup, again like Drogba, a 4-star, 5-star, medium low on the work rates, he is right-footed with finesse shot only, but what he adds is the pace element of it. You've got the agility balance, doesn't have the strength, so he is going to be more through balls and just in general 1-2 play. He is very much different in that sense that you want as much through balls as possible, and when I use a striker term, kind of a pick up and play, it's the sort of person that can suit anybody's sort of game style. No matter if you're passing, no matter if you're just running with the ball, because that is the default setting in FIFA from what I found. I had to change my sort of gameplay once I got to a better level. You have to kind of play in a different way, because if you constantly just keep running at players, right, especially in Elite, you're just going to get tackled and they're going to counter you. They've got passing on lock. They've got obviously drawing you out on lock. You can't just completely run through. And Butra definitely offers an option of that. But once you get to the top of the game, you have to adapt and obviously go for more passing, which he's got a bit of short game on him. And again, most strikers are not necessarily going to be the most elite passers in the game, but they get by with it. But his agility balance is coming in nice. He's got good composure. The pace on him is fantastic. And as well as Drogba, he's got pretty good shooting as well. And it seems like I've just added World Cups at the same time, but Dalglish is another one very, very similar to Butra. Coming in a bit taller, again with a 4-star, 5-star, which is always perfect. High medium, obviously right-footed, flair outside of the foot as the two traits, and very, very similar. And I think these two come in like I say, both very, very much the same. Obviously, the pace on Butra is that little bit more, but we do have that tiny bit more shooting as well, which would be where you put the chem style. Do you go more for the hunter, max out that pace as well as shooting? You've already got the agility balance down on lock. There's no point going for too much strength with him, so he's kind of perfect in that aspect, whereas with Butra being 93 pace, even though you do want to whack a hunter on him, you're going to have to figure something else out. I'd probably go with something maybe like, I'd say finisher, but again, the strength is not going to make that much of a difference. Being 5'6", it just won't. So maybe going for something shooting, dribbling orientated, or if you're going for more of a passing Butra, you could go for that Deadeye. Whereas obviously with Dalglish, Hunter's going to be perfect because his pace is at that top level, but most definitely can be increased as well, which is always perfect. And you will get the benefits of, say, a +5, 6 on the finishing, which will do a little bit. It's minuscule upgrades, but will definitely do better than a +2 or a +3. With the agility balance, again, very similar. Pick up and play sort of striker, and I've used every version of Dalglish multiple years now, and every version is very good. If you can get him on form, sometimes he might take a couple of games to get used to the different styles of him, but he normally pretty much just hits the ground running, and that is why he is most definitely in one of these lists. And then for a normal icon, so we've got Prime Thierry Henry. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people, and to be honest myself, the past few years, he's just been looked over. Until maybe you get to a prime moment sort of version, that's when he kind of really comes alive. And even though he still has the same problem that we'll get into, he is still a very good striker, especially if he is your favourite player. I feel like he's definitely got that status for a lot of people. Personally, mine was Rooney. Thierry Henry was definitely the fan favourite of a lot of Arsenal fans, and to be honest, a lot of French fans in general. He's got to be. His class, his skill, his just elegance going forward was always mesmerising, and I kind of hope at one point they do replicate that in this game. We have got finesse and flair on him. It's coming in at 6'2", same height as Drogba, with a 4'4". Obviously can be the left wing and centre forward, but the biggest problem with him is going to be his balance, and honestly, I don't understand why they've made it. Every version of Henry has that weak balance. Everything else is absolute clash. You've got 94 on the pace, perfect. 94 finishing, good amount of passing. Obviously for a striker, that's not bad at all. The dribbling, everything is absolutely elite, bar from balance. And I don't understand why. I don't know if you know the answer to it, make sure you comment below. But it's the only thing that really kind of stuffs this striker. In previous years, it's definitely had more of a problem with it, but I think this year you kind of can see past it. I don't know if that's just wanting to use him that much that you just kind of see past it anyway, but in terms of this striker, if he had that balance increase, he would definitely be in that top 5, top 6 category, 100%. So if we do manage to see a reality icon or whatever the new icons that come out in the future and we see a 94, 95 Henry, if he's got that balance sorted, I'd be very, very worried to see him in game, because I think that is personally the only thing that holds him back in any sort of capacity. You can put him on the wing if you want. He is a bit of a taller winger, but in a 4-3-3, he is very quick down the wing and most definitely can cut in every single time. And I think for me, he is one of the top icons that we most definitely should be arguing who we want in the pack next. And then that leads us to Eto'o. Again, he was just made for FIFA. 5'10", perfect work rates, right-footed with a 4'5". You cannot argue with this card. He's outside of the foot and finesse. Every single version of Eto'o is as meta as you like. Pace, shooting, passing is a bit iffy, but again, I'm not too fussed about that. I want him scoring goals, not assisting. Dribbling-wise, it's good. You are looking probably more towards a chemistry style for shooting, dribbling. I can't remember. Is that? I think that's finisher, I want to say. I've played this game for over 100 days on every single one, and I cannot remember which chemistry style is it. I think it is finisher now. I want to say that, or unless that's physical now. Finisher, if I can find it. Yeah, they changed it. I'm pretty sure finisher was shooting physical before. Now, obviously, the finisher would give you a whopping, whilst I'm on Eto'o anyway, he will give you an explosive run speed, 96 shooting, 95 dribbling. I think you can just say and leave it at that. His pace is just always elite. He's always in on goal, and his finishing is absolutely class. You cannot argue at any version of Eto'o, but I would say the World Cup, even though he does have a 92, having that 4-star, 5-star, sometimes is just irreplaceable. And if you took a little look before, Cantona is up next, and very different again, very much like Drogba and Henry in height stature, 6'2" with a high medium. He comes in as a centre forward to start with, and there's arguments that more than likely you would start him as a cam, maybe putting him up front, but I think in especially this sort of FIFA, I don't see too many cams in game. Maybe when the team starts up, you kind of see a few, but I normally see a 2 at the front, the wingers, midfield, defenders. It's a standard formation this year. Obviously, there may be different people who try different things. Let me know your formation down below. But Cantona is that hold-up striker. He's very good at turning on a spot. He has got a good agility balance, and he's still coming in, I'm pretty sure, at a very solid price. Especially for his 93, still 2.1 mil, kind of tells you a lot with prices of players. Flair outside of the foot and power header are the traits, and very much like Drogba. He's got a good amount of pace for somebody so tall. Shooting's always going to be fantastic. Passing is actually really good, and this is what makes him that sort of hold-up striker, but also someone you can A, find in the box for a header, and B, kind of cut back, ready to absolutely unleash an absolute monster shot. The chemistry style people are going for is obviously going to be that engine, which would give you, if I can find engine, 93 pace, 96 dribbling, and 95 passing. There's not much more you can ask for there. Takes the agility balance to 90 and 94. Already got the strength and aggression for this card. He is a wonderful striker if you need him up front, but I would say either have him on his solo striker as a 4-3-3, and mainly you want to be trying to go down the wings, cut it back in, or maybe getting it to him up front and then pinging it to the wings, or in a dual striker, obviously 2 strikers up front, you definitely want somebody Mbappe-esque, Butragueno, Eto'o next to him, because they're going to be the run-off from him. And then once they get so far, he normally should be in a position to be set back and absolute rocket it across goal. That, for me, is always the perfect way to use Cantona. The next one is an SBC, and normally I don't really put SBCs in unless A, you've got a long time to get him done, which Hugo Sanchez actually does. He is in until the 21st of April, which is absolutely ages away. 730,000 coins. It is the only way to get this card. And what I've kind of experienced with Team of the Year icons, don't ever look at their previous versions because they are normally way better. Beckham's better, Vidic is way better, Nesta's better, Makalele. There's a lot of top-end players that have got to a new level. And Hugo Sanchez most definitely is another one. The fact that he is craftable is perfect. He's had an increase on that skill move, which just automatically makes him better. Even if he was 1 rating lower, like we've seen with a lot of the World Cups, a 4-star skill, 5-star skill, 5-star weak foot is irreplaceable. There's no way of getting that up. There is 0 ways to increase that without an upgraded card on its base. He's 5'9" with a left foot. He's got power, free kick, finesse, flair, and power header. And stat-wise, again, coming in very nice. If you've not necessarily managed to pack an Mbappe, a Team of the Year forward, any sort of informal special card where you think, you know what, this is an endgame striker, work towards this guy. You've got so long to get him done, and he will stay relevant for quite a while. It's got the pace, shooting's immaculate, decent amount of passing, obviously the dribbling's looking good, composure could do with a bit of an upgrade, but we still move with that. 85 is good enough, especially for someone you don't actually have to buy, and he's got a good amount of head accuracy. This card is just made to be a striker, and he actually is really, really nice to get in game. And I think that the big thing for me, which makes him more meta, is obviously that skill move, but the fact that you can literally just grind him out for a month easily, and you've got him in your team forever. It's absolutely perfect. Now we're kind of on to the big dogs. We've got some absolute monsters coming in now. Puskás is number 1, and we'll kind of briefly go over these because I feel like these top-end players now are what everybody knows. We know Puskás is amazing, even though, again, the 4-star, 3-star, we managed to get a better version with a 4-4, will add absolute value to this card. Still, absolutely class. Shooting-wise is impeccable, good pace, passing's good. He's just a whole package. But I think for me, one of my favourites has got to be this man. Cruyff is elite in every aspect. Base, mid, prime, moments 2, moments 3. Any version that you get of Cruyff is going to be outstanding from day 1 to day 300 and whatever. He is absolutely incredible. And I think even his base would still be very relevant even at the end of the game, just purely for the fact of the body style. Obviously the 5 star is always going to be cracking, and obviously the work rates, the stats, they are all in line to be incredible. Very much like R9, bar from maybe R9's base does kind of dwindle out a little bit. Cruyff is just Cruyff. It's incredible to see. I personally have never packed a Cruyff yet. We did one SBC, and I'm hoping that we can get Cruyff in this game because he's just absolutely elite, and there's very little to say about him. Then we have Pele. Again, like I say, when it comes to the final few now, we know how good they are. There's very little to say, bar from the stats are just absolutely stacked, but the price always reflects that. We're looking at players that are 3 to 4 to 5 mil. There's just no other way of describing them bar from the best of the best, and that is why the price is there. Obviously with Pele, he's still coming in at 4.8 million. Then we have Eusebio, who I think is coming in a little bit cheaper now. He is coming in at 2.9. Again, you can kind of understand where they're coming from. I feel like going to the other end, we've got Hullet, who is now, I think he's got to be a high price still, 10.4 million. It's just absolutely nuts. But the stats, even though I do like him more as a midfielder, you put him up front and he's just a joke. He gets everything, he wins everything, he scores everything. It's just stupid. And then my favourite striker of all time, R9, is just going to be R9. If you don't like him, then I don't know what you're doing, because in general, this card is just filth. He runs through effortlessly. We've managed to put him up front in loan version, obviously in a few friendlies, and I don't think he's lost a match yet. That just naturally is how good he is. Personally, I've never used him as a solo striker. I know that was one comment that somebody made, but personally, I think he could do both anyway. I do like having two strikers. That is just natural, no matter if it's a Team of the Year Mbappe or an R9. I always like to have two, just to give them options as they go forward, because I don't necessarily need to push my midfield up so much. It kind of lets the strikers breathe, and if you've got an R9 and an Mbappe, there's very little that you can do. But I think the difference between, obviously, an R9 coming in at 9.15 mil, we've got Hullet at 10.4. Once we go down to these sort of icons here, if I just have a look at, say, let's have a look at Eto'o first. He's coming in at a whopping okay, to be fair, he's still coming in very, very expensive. To be honest, strikers are going to be expensive. Dalglish, 570k. I knew one of them was going to be cheap, and he's perfect. He will do the job. If you're semi-good at being a forward, being a striker, he will do absolutely everything. If you are looking at a gold card, Mbappe would always be the one. But in terms of icons, I think Dalglish would be one of the best ones you can get for that sort of price. Every other one is probably going to be that little bit more expensive, but the more expense you go with these strikers and you hit into the Pele, Cruyff, Eusebio level, they are just going to carry you through everything. So let me know down below which one is your favourite icon striker. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace. Check out the video on the screen now.